My family created a secret group chat without me, and the truth left me speechless. It started on an ordinary Thursday evening. I'd just gotten home from work and flopped onto the couch, scrolling through Instagram to unwind. My feed was a mix of vacation photos, memes, and updates from friends. But then I saw it, a photo that made my stomach twist into a knot. There they were, my family, smiling and gathered around a large table at a restaurant I recognized. My parents, my siblings, even my brother's girlfriend were all there. Everyone except me. I stared at the photo, my thumb hovering over the screen as if I could swipe away the unease settling over me. My first thought was, this must be an old picture. But as I looked closer, I realized the restaurant was one my sister had recently raved about. It wasn't an old photo. It was new. The caption confirmed it. Family dinner night. Love these moments. I sat up straight, my heart pounding. Why wasn't I there? I replayed the week in my head, searching for a reason. Had I missed a text or an invitation? I opened our family group chat, scrolling back through days of messages, but there was nothing, not a single mention of this dinner. Still, I tried to brush it off. Maybe it was a last-minute plan. Maybe they assumed I was busy. It's not a big deal, I told myself, but the uneasy feeling lingered, gnawing at the edges of my mind. The Instagram photo was just the beginning. Over the next few weeks, the feeling of unease I tried so hard to shake only grew stronger. At first, I thought I was imagining things. Families get busy. People forget to send invites. Life happens. But then, it started happening more often. One Sunday, I showed up at my parents' house for dinner like I always did, only to find my mom waiting by the door with a sheepish smile. "Oh, honey," she said, "we were actually thinking of rescheduling dinner this week. I should have called you earlier." I nodded, though my chest felt tight. "No problem," I mumbled, turning back toward my car. But later that evening, as I scrolled through Instagram again, I saw another post, this time from my brother's girlfriend. It was a photo of my family sitting around my parents' dining table. The same table where I'd sat every Sunday for years. I stared at the photo for what felt like hours, anger and confusion swirling in my chest. They hadn't rescheduled dinner. They just had it without me. The next day, I decided to test the waters. I sent a casual message in our family group chat. "Hey, what's everyone up to this week? Let's plan something." The responses were slow to trickle in, and when they did, they were vague. "Busy week for me," my sister replied. "Yeah, same here," said my brother. I tried to shrug it off, but the next few weeks were filled with similar moments. Brunches I wasn't invited to, game nights I only learned about after the fact, and inside jokes in the group chat that I didn't understand. It was like my family had split into two versions, one I was a part of and one I wasn't. By the time I saw another photo on social media, a beach day I hadn't even heard about, I knew I couldn't ignore it anymore. Something was going on, and I needed to figure out what. When my mom called the following Sunday to say dinner was canceled again, I decided I'd had enough. "Are you sure it's canceled?" I asked, my voice sharper than I intended. There was a pause. "Yes, sweetie, why?" "No reason," I said quickly, "just checking." I made up my mind then and there. If they weren't going to invite me, I'd invite myself. That Sunday, I drove to my parents' house anyway. I arrived early, parking down the street to avoid being seen. As I approached the house, I could hear laughter and the clinking of dishes from the open kitchen window. My chest tightened. They were all inside, my parents, my siblings, their significant others, enjoying dinner without me. I knocked on the door, my heart pounding. My mom opened it, her expression shifting from surprise to guilt in an instant. "Oh, you're here." "Yeah," I said, stepping inside before she could say anything else. The smell of roasted chicken hit me, and I saw the table set for everyone but me. The room felt silent as I walked in. My siblings exchanged nervous glances, and my dad focused intently on carving the chicken, as if that was the most important task in the world. "So," I began, forcing my voice to stay steady, "are we not doing Sunday dinners together anymore?" "It's not like that," my mom said quickly. "We just thought you were busy with work." I let out a bitter laugh. "Really? Because it seems like everyone else here isn't too busy." No one said a word. My brother shifted uncomfortably in his seat, and my youngest sister avoided eye contact altogether. "I don't get it," I said, my voice breaking. "Did I do something wrong? Did I upset someone?" "It's complicated," my brother muttered, looking down at his plate. "Complicated?" I repeated, my frustration bubbling over. What's so complicated about inviting me to dinner? Maybe we should talk about this another time, my mom said, placing a hand on my arm. No, I snapped, stepping back. We're talking about it now. The room was thick with tension, and no one seemed willing to give me a straight answer. Finally, unable to take it any longer, I grabbed my jacket and stormed out, ignoring my mom's voice calling my name. For the next few days, I avoided my family altogether. I ignored their calls, muted the group chat, and threw myself into work to keep my mind off the growing knot in my chest. But no matter how much I tried to distract myself, the unanswered questions gnawed at me. What had I done? Why were they shutting me out? Late one night, as I lay in bed scrolling through Reddit, I decided to post about my situation. I wrote everything, about the Instagram photos, the canceled dinners, and how my family had suddenly started treating me like an outsider. Within hours, the post blew up. People shared their own stories, offered advice, and told me I wasn't crazy for feeling betrayed. Reading their comments felt like validation, but it didn't bring me any closer to answers. Then, a direct message popped up from an anonymous account. I know why they're avoiding you, but you're not ready to hear it. I sat up, my heart racing. Before I could reply, the message disappeared. The account was gone. I stared at my phone, my mind racing. Who could it have been? A family member? A friend? Someone who knew what was happening? The cryptic message left me more determined than ever to get to the bottom of things. The next day, I had an idea. If my family wasn't going to tell me what was going on, I'd find out myself. I borrowed my best friend's phone and created a fake Instagram account. Using the new profile, I followed my siblings, their partners, and a few of their close friends. It didn't take long for them to accept the follow requests. They probably assumed it was just another random follower. At first, I didn't find much. The posts were the usual mix of selfies, pets, and vacation snapshots. But after a few days, I stumbled across something that made my stomach drop. A screenshot of a group chat titled Family Time. I zoomed in on the screen, reading snippets of the messages. They were discussing plans for a weekend getaway, plans I hadn't been invited to. My hands shook as I scrolled through the fake account's feed, piecing together bits of conversations and photos I'd never seen before. There it was, clear as day. A separate group chat, one I wasn't part of, where my family planned events and shared jokes behind my back. I couldn't believe it. My own family had created a secret space to exclude me. That evening, I confronted my youngest sister. She was the most likely to crack under pressure. Can you explain this? I asked, holding up my phone with the screenshot of the group chat. Her face went pale. Where did you get that? Does it matter? I snapped. Why is there a family group chat that I'm not in? And why have I been left out of everything lately? She hesitated, biting her lip. It's not what you think. Then tell me what it is, I said, my voice rising. After a long pause, she sighed. Okay, fine, but you're not going to like it. She explained that the group chat had been created about 6 months ago, shortly after my breakup with Kevin. At first, I didn't see the connection, but then she told me the real reason for the breakup. Mom found out Kevin was cheating on you, she said softly. A family friend sent her a photo of him with someone else. She confronted him and he admitted it. The room spun as I processed her words. What? She and Dad decided not to tell you. They made a deal with Kevin. He'd break up with you or leave cleanly, and they wouldn't tell you about the affair. I stared at her, speechless. They thought it was the right thing to do, she continued. They didn't want you to get hurt, but after the breakup, they didn't know how to handle things. They thought it would be easier to keep some distance. Easier? I repeated, my voice shaking. They thought it would be easier to shut me out than to just tell me the truth. She looked down, guilt etched across her face. I'm sorry. I tried to tell her it was a bad idea, but they thought they were protecting you. I couldn't listen anymore. I grabbed my keys and left, my mind reeling. I spent the rest of the night driving aimlessly, trying to process everything my sister had told me. The betrayal hit me in waves. My family had not only kept Kevin's affair a secret, but had manipulated my breakup and excluded me from their lives in the aftermath. When I got home, I sat in the dark, replaying every moment from the past 6 months. The canceled dinners, the secret group chat, the cryptic responses, they all make sense now. But knowing the truth didn't make it hurt any less. The next morning, I decided I couldn't keep pretending everything was fine. I opened the family group chat, the one I was still in, and typed out a message. I know about Kevin, the secret group chat, and everything else. I can't believe you all would betray me like this. Until you're ready to tell me the whole truth face to face, I don't want to hear from any of you. I muted the chat and turned off notifications for their messages. For the first time in my life, I felt like I didn't have a family anymore. Over the next few weeks, I avoided all contact with my family. I muted their calls, blocked them on social media, and threw myself into therapy to sort through the tangled mess of emotions. My therapist was a calm, grounding presence. She listened as I poured out everything: the secret dinners, the group chat, the lies about Kevin. When I finished, she leaned back in her chair and said, "What your family did was deeply hurtful, even if they thought they were protecting you. But protecting someone doesn't mean taking away their right to make their own decisions." Her words hit me hard. That's exactly what I felt, like my autonomy had been stolen. Through therapy, I began to understand the patterns behind my family's behavior. My mom, in particular, had always been protective to a fault. I remember her talking about her own past, how she'd been cheated on before meeting my dad. It didn't excuse what she'd done, but it helped me see where her actions came from. Still, the betrayal ran deep. I wasn't sure if I'd ever be able to trust them again. About a month after cutting contact, I got a phone call from my dad. I let it go to voicemail, but later, curiosity got the better of me, and I listened to his message. "Hey, kiddo," he said, his voice heavy with regret. "I'm sorry for everything. I don't expect you to forgive us right away, but I just want you to know we love you. Maybe we could meet and talk on your terms." I didn't respond right away. It took a few more days and several long talks with my therapist before I agreed to meet with him. When we finally sat down, he looked more vulnerable than I'd ever seen him. "We thought we were protecting you," he said, "but we were wrong, and I'm sorry." His apology cracked something open in me. For the first time since this all started, I felt like someone in my family understood the pain they caused. Over the next few weeks, I met with my siblings one-on-one. My youngest sister cried as she apologized, saying she felt trapped between loyalty to me and loyalty to our parents. My brother admitted he pushed to keep the secret because he thought it would spare me more pain. Eventually, my mom reached out too. Her voice shook as she apologized, admitting that her own fears and past trauma had clouded her judgment. "I thought I was doing what was best for you," she said, tears streaming down her face. "But I see now that I was wrong." It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. At my dad's suggestion, we began family therapy. The first few sessions were tense. There were so many emotions bubbling under the surface. But slowly, we started to make progress. I told them how betrayed I'd felt, how their actions had made me question my place in the family. My mom admitted how hard it had been to see me hurt and how she thought keeping the truth from me would protect me. My brother apologized for his role in the secret group chat, even going so far as to delete it during one of our sessions. It wasn't easy and it wasn't quick, but little by little, we started rebuilding.